All right, so Kulve Taroth is finally here, and I think this fight is amazing. It's really fun. It's been a nice excuse to go into the Gathering Hub and actually use that. I mean, for the most part, I hadn't been using the Gathering Hub at all, so this has been really cool. Just even in that aspect, seeing lots of random players, people coming and going, definitely gave me the feeling of the old school Monster Hunter games, like 3U and 4U specifically, where you just had a room and you would meet people, because people would be coming in and out all the time, and that really hasn't been the case in World, just because of the SOS system and the other things that they've set up. But the way that this siege works, I mean, it feels just like classic Monster Hunter all over again. And the fight itself isn't that bad. It's actually pretty fun for a bigger dragon. Some of those fights, like Xeno'jiiva, for instance, or in the past, something like Dire Morales, where the monster is just so slow, the fight isn't, I don't know, it's not that exciting. I feel like you're just sitting and poking him in the crotch for 20 minutes. Whereas with this fight, especially later, once he's like released and doesn't have any metal on him, or metal on her, excuse me, anymore, that she gets much harder, which is kind of cool to see a bigger dragon that's mobile. So I've definitely enjoyed the fight. I mean, it's still fairly easy, I'd say. Like, I haven't been bringing any like specific sets for the fight. The set I'm using in this video is just my standard Guard 3 Lance set. I mean, with protective polish, of course. Lance is really fun on this fight because you can just do the Lance charge and you've got that full minute of, sharpness immunity. And so you're just charging into it, just hitting it over and over and over and over again. And so it's kind of a cool excuse to go ham with the weapons. And speaking of the weapons, I haven't really gotten anything all that great yet. I've gotten that Thunder Lance that a lot of people have been showing on Reddit and YouTube, with the 600 Thunder element hidden. And I'm on the fence about it. I seriously have reservations that it could even come close to outdamaging Joe's Lance. So as far as Lance goes, the search continues. I did get a pretty cool Baroth reskin that has Paralyze on it that doesn't need to be awakened. But once again, its raw is extremely low. So I haven't seen anything myself as far as Lance goes that I would want to write home about, which kind of sucks. So I'm hoping that I'll at least find a good greatsword, and maybe, who knows, there'll be a good Lance once I've run this who knows how many times. On the other side of that, though, is the armor. And this is exactly how the Devil Joe armor should have been, in my opinion. Each piece, and I'm really focusing mostly on the beta here, but each piece has something pretty good. I mean, the helmet has Agitator and Free Element. The chest has Crit Boost. The gloves have Power Prolonger. The waist has Handicraft. And the legs have Peak Performance. So all those, especially the chest, I mean, the alpha version has 2 points of crit boost, so I could definitely see the chest and the waist being used in a lot of mix sets. And I know for me, because I run peak performance almost all the time on my Lance sets now, I could see maybe having a mix or two using those legs, with the bonus of having wide range thrown in. And the beta set comes with a ton of slots, so it's going to be pretty easy to customize. As far as hunt prep goes, I usually eat for attack. Of course, taking health and stamina into consideration first. And I bring the Vitality Mantle and the Fireproof Mantle with me. The Fireproof Mantle is really nice, of course, for when she does that breath attack. That just ticks away your health really fast. That fire, it can get you out of trouble for sure. If you get caught like mid-swing, mid-animation or something, and you just don't really have the time to get out. I know for like dual blades, that can be a problem. The Fireproof Mantle can be a lifesaver there. And the other item I bring, like I said, is the Vitality Mantle. I know I've noticed lately some people have been bringing the health booster, which works too. But I like the Vitality Mantle. It's just basically kind of, especially in the last section of the fight where she's much more apt to do fire breath attacks. You've got the lava falling from the ceiling, all that stuff going on. Having that extra buffer there is really nice. One thing that I was actually surprised about is that you don't need guard up. There's nothing she does, at least so far as I know, that is unblockable. And originally I was running this without guard at all, but I like the little extra cushion that guard 3 has given me, just as far as the decreased stamina consumption and the reduced knockback, so I can get out of a bad situation just a little faster if I need to. There is a skill, though, that I don't really think is necessary, and that's Part Breaker. I've definitely seen some talk on forums about sets with Part Breaker, but in my experience, everything on her, especially when she's in a molten state, falls off so quick. I mean, it may just be Lance because I'm able to just charge through and just keep hitting things repeatedly, but I really haven't run into an issue of having problems breaking things off or breaking off her horns. Most of my runs are right around the 10-minute mark, and it's never been a situation where I've thought, oh yeah, that's the skill that I wish I want. I think a better skill for most players would just be to stack more health if you're dying, or defense, fire resistance, or just flat out attack itself. And I wanted to take this moment here just because she's like released and point out just how cool she looks. Capcom did such a great job on the design of Kulve Taroth, especially when you're up close. I mean, as a Lance user, I'm usually near her head, and just seeing all the little details in the face and the scales, how they designed her. I mean, they did an excellent job with Joe, especially Tempered Joe, and they've continued that with Kulve Taroth. So if anything, I mean, the future of additional monsters in Monster Hunter looks incredibly bright. So now the fight's gonna go down into like the lava-y area, and we're gonna take advantage of one of the like lava pits. And that's kind of another cool thing about this fight, is all the different environmental traps. Like in the beginning with the boulders, getting a fresh 1500 damage, and then also getting a huge knockdown where you can drop bombs is super helpful to get the start of the fight going. But in this area, you've got the lava pits, and just fighting her on them, once one erupts, you're looking at about 300 damage a tick, which is great. And that'll happen here shortly. But another thing that I wanted to mention was all the little things that she drops. It wouldn't be a bad idea to keep your eyes out for the piercing pods. Those are really handy. Can definitely help to break multiple things on her body, and they do a ton of damage. So if you see those laying around, definitely pick them up. They're really good. I also like the bomb pods. I mean, it's those ones you don't necessarily want to shoot back to back to back. You want to shoot one of those, let it explode, and give it a second before you shoot another one, just because the bomb ones in particular are going to have a really nice chance to stagger. And there you can see the pierce pod just going through and all the numbers flying up. So yeah, keep your eyes out for the pierce pods in particular. Those are really handy. So now we're going into the last part of the fight. And I wanted to mention about like effective weapons here just for a moment. I find Lance to be pretty effective. Obviously, Gun Lance is going to be super effective too. I've had some great runs with Gun Lance users just because it's similar in nature to a bomb. They're shelling, where it's going to do static damage, and that's really nice for breaking parts off. Insect Glaive has actually also been really fun, not only to play but to have in the group. Of course, there's extra mounts, which always helps, but I had this one glaive user who was just, buzzing back and forth on the horns the whole time, and we decimated that fight. The horns broke off really quick. And then, of course, any of the ranged weapons work really, really well in a group setting, especially on a slower monster like this. I've had good runs with bow users, light and heavy bow gun users too. And that's gonna wrap up this video. Just, you know, a pretty typical farming run. Most of my runs are between the, like I'd say, about 8 to 10 minute range, which isn't bad, but I would still like to get a few nice drops here and there. So I'm hoping over the weekend farming here that I'll end up with something pretty nice. Oh, and before I forget, I wanted to mention something about just the nature of this quest, because like I mentioned earlier, it's in the guild hall and you're interacting with players more, you're at least seeing them. Send out your guild cards. I've been having a lot more luck getting guild cards back, partially due just to the amount of people that are around in the halls. So this is a good time if you're looking for that trophy, or if you're just interested in collecting guild cards just for the sake of them, like I am. Definitely start sending them out on some of these hunts where you've got a room of, you know, potentially 16 people standing around waiting for the quest to start. And that is going to bring this video to a close. So happy hunting. I hope you guys find a ton of awesome relics, and maybe we'll all see each other online. I definitely want to do some more online hunts with some of the various communities like GameFAQs and Reddit. So that's something to look forward to. Anyway, have a good day, guys.